Welcome to the Empowered Embodiment Revolution, where women leaders reveal how to liberate yourself from body battles so you can follow your heart, own your power, and shine in the world. I'm Darlene Downing, and I am your host for this event, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. I have with me the inspiring, witty, multi-talented, and magical Helen Terry, and I cannot wait to introduce you to her. She is a beloved mentor of mine, a friend, a colleague, and she has just really been such an inspiration in my life. So I can't wait to have this conversation with her and let you experience her magic. So I'm going to share her official bio with you so you can dive into her energy just a little bit more. Spend time around Helen and you will learn something. Receive inspiration and garner support for your dreams and desires. Not to mention being highly entertained by her loving sense of humor and English Texan accent, which many mistake for Australian. Helen has been helping people love their bodies and lives through Nia technique since 1993. Recognized by Origins magazine as a top inspirer in Texas, Helen is multi-talented with a magical formula. She combines experience and knowledge with determination and faith to consciously create and bring ideas to life. Helen founded Nia Moves in Houston in 1996, a successful fitness studio. She also co-owns Soma Ranch Retreat in Montgomery, Texas with her husband, Joe. Helen has a special and very effective way of catering to the unique needs of each individual. She helps folks feel great while giving them the skills they need. When she's not leading Nia trainings worldwide, you'll find Helen at Soma Ranch, feeding the rescued donkeys, enjoying a kombucha tea on the porch with her awesome home support husband, Joe, and being corralled by her border collie, Phelps. So welcome, Helen. I am so happy and honored to have you here today.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. It's great to be here.
So we're having this fabulous conversation on empowered embodiment, and we're starting a revolution of empowered embodies all over the globe. And I've been asking each of the speakers of this event to give me their point of view or their definition of what empowered embodiment is. So how do you define it?
Well, for me, empowered embodiment, I take it, first of all, to be powerful, I think each of us have a mind of our own. We have our own feelings. And what's amazing about being human on this planet is we are each unique. There's not one person on the whole planet that's quite like us. But to really be in our power, it actually connects with embodiment in that my body is the vessel. And if I truly want to be like firing on all cylinders with my brilliant mind, my emotions, and my way of being unique in the world, then it can only happen by me truly being in my vessel, meaning in my body. So that empowerment goes straight in with, for me, embodiment means all my power and all my God gifts, all my talents and my experiences of how I can make a difference in this world. It's all packaged in the body. And when I can find how I can be truly in my body, and not only in my body, but in love with my body, then that is like the catapult for like everything else can fall into place.
Oh, that's such a yummy definition. I love that. I love that. I'm going to play with not going back and forth with a little box and just let our conversation take us with the camera. I appreciate that concept of loving the body too. It's that receiving of the gift of being on this planet, experiencing all the thoughts and the emotions and the passions and everything that wants to flow through us. And yeah, to honor that vessel with which all of it is coming alive is brilliant. Love it, love it. So I know that I know your story with your body briefly, and I know that you didn't always feel empowered in your body. And I'm wondering if you would be willing to share what your journey has been with your body and how maybe one of your biggest body battles or body challenges that you've had and what it was that changed that for you.
Oh, thanks. I love sharing this story, and it's like I love how now it's at a point where it's easy for me to share the story in that there's been times in the past where I think I was still processing it, and it was still like quite a painful thing. I think for a lot of people, especially as women, that can be this disconnect that we can act as if we have everything together, but on the inside we can be so crumbling and not happy with who we are and how we look. So before I came into NIA, I was an aerobics teacher, and on the outside I was a happy, bouncy, go-lucky kind of girl that always was a little bit overweight. I was actually extremely athletic, but I was a size 18. I stopped weighing myself when I was 168 pounds. I think I actually was weighing definitely more than that. And I actually would use exercise as my means to purge, meaning whereas some people might, be bulimic, like eat and then find ways of, of being sick so that you remove the food. I also always used to be annoyed with myself that I considered I was such a coward that I didn't even have the nerve or the courage to do that. So it's so funny looking back that I was like, oh, if only I could be one of those people, but I don't even have the guts to do that. So my to purge in that I was too scared to do that. I like to see now that maybe God was holding me back, from allowing myself to do that. And I do believe he only gives us what we can cope with. But anyway, that can be on a side angle conversation. So here I was. I used exercise as a means to control my bulimic tendencies. So I would start the day either saying I'm only going to drink water or only eat apples, and then sometime mid-afternoon I would crash on that sugar thing and start to break my very strict mentality of what I was going to do. And then by the end of the evening, I find myself so many times in the bottom of the tub of an ice cream container, and just loathing myself and feeling so bad about it. I found recently actually one of my old diaries, and it literally was calories in and calories out. And quite often at the end of my day, if I found that I had eaten more calories than I had expended, I would make myself go out and run around the track until I had that book balance. And it's so crazy how it was an effort to find control over something that was so out of control. But I was just setting myself up for self-destruction, self-loathing, very low self-esteem while acting on the outside that I really had it all together when I really didn't. And then it's so much effort is involved in then that discrepancy between where I really am, a unhappy, insecure, lonely, addictive natured person who's simply numbing herself with food and alcohol, while on the outside being somebody completely different, Helen, the happy aerobics teacher that's high on energy and smiley on the outside, and that just ate my heart up. And so basically I went to a fitness convention to specialize in seniors fitness. I got to the point where every time I went to teach an aerobics class, I'd put the tape in, which shows how long ago it was. I'd put the tape in, and I literally would feel like I was going to throw up. My body would like seize, and I'd be, oh, this feels terrible. And I literally was physically feeling sick every time I went to start my class. So I went to an idea convention with the intent that I would specialize in seniors fitness, thinking that would solve my problem. It's very biomedical. I've got this problem. How can I fix it? I'll teach seniors, and then I'll be moving less, and then maybe I won't feel like I have to throw up every time I teach class.
Wow.
So I laugh now that I'm in my, now I'm 49, and the first class I was in at this convention was fitness for the 40s plus. class. But anyway.
Funny how our point of view changes, isn't it?
It is. So anyway, I was so struggling in this lecture that halfway through, I couldn't sit still. I was like, I don't do this. What can I do? And I walked out feeling really broken down and heard this fantastic music in the corridor. And I thought, what is that? And I opened the door to the end of a workshop with Debbie and Carlos Rosas, who are the founders of NEAR technique. And that moment, even though I wasn't healed, it was definitely, that was the moment I began to turn around. That was the moment I began to fall back in love with myself. And I went into the NEAR training 3 months later. I actually got married to stay in the country to go and do NEAR. That's another story. But anyway, I went to Portland. I did the NEAR training, and I started being a teacher 2 weeks later, and I haven't really looked back since. In that first year of teaching NEAR, I ate less and exercised more, and I went from a size 18 to a size 8. And that process was much less about calories, how much I was working out, how much I was eating. Even the quality of food didn't seem to matter. It was much more about me falling in love with myself, accepting myself for who I was. And then it really became an accelerated excitement of literally watching my body shape change and watching the pounds shed off without really me seeming to put any effort into it once I started on the path of loving myself. And then I think I can say it was just over a year later that I could truly say, I love myself, I love my body, and I love my life. Yeah, so.
Wow, this is such an awesome story. And that piece of you coming home to yourself, which gave you the experience of the body that you wanted on the outside, that you were struggling so hard to get before, right? Like, so focused on the outside, and when you started taking it inside, everything started to change without the effort. And it's so funny how we can have our eyes focused in a completely different direction until we get that aha, that grace that shows up, right? And everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also it's funny, of all those years of suffering, it is also an example how I can look back now, and even the tough times really are a gift for me now, in that without having those tough times, I wouldn't appreciate where I was today. And also, not every day is perfect. I still have some days, some downer days, and some days where I'm out of control with my food like I used to be. But it's like, from me having the past and having the taste of what it truly means to be loving myself, my body, and my life, I guess the parity, the comparison between the two spurs me up on those down days rather than allowing it to become that spiral down. And the other gift with it is, I think, from being so messed up while trying to be perfect, and now being much less messed up and honoring how I am perfectly imperfect every day, if that makes sense. It allows me to have much greater compassion and understanding for other people, particularly women, who are going through a similar path, and particularly if they're on the path still kind of struggling or trying to find themselves. I love how God really has blessed me with a position to help inspire and guide others, not by saying, hey, I've got it all together, you have to simply be like me. Instead, it's like, we're all the same and we're all on this path. And I think as women particularly, we really can empower each others by recognizing how we can love our lives and our bodies. So, double gift.
Oh, it's so beautiful, and thank you for presencing that. We're just all at different places on our journey, and it's not a better than or less than. It is how can we support one another in our growth and choosing the best life possible. And yeah, none of us have it figured out. When we'll never get it all figured out, right?
That's the grand mystery of things, yeah.
Isn't that beautiful, the mystery of it all?
Yeah.
I was one that I always thought I had to have it figured out, and the more I've let go of that and played in the mystery, it has expanded my life and been such a blessing. And it can be scary, but now it's more of like, oh my gosh, what exciting thing is going to happen next? And I don't know, you know, but yeah, it's really cool. And the compassion that it gives us when we've gone through that journey ourselves and come through on the other side, that we know what that's like. And yeah, it's great. Thank you for sharing it so openly.
Oh, you're welcome. I think you said it beautifully too about, you know, when we think we're in control, how difficult that is. But by letting go, for me, a visual on that, kind of like driving a car. You know, like for years, I think I was in the driver's seat, looking at how I could be driving that car. And for me, really letting God lead my life, and literally embodiment for me is that, you know, basically I allow myself to be in my body, but letting, you know, God move through me rather than thinking that I can be doing it. And if I think I'm in control, that's like me saying I'm God, and I'm sorry, I'm like I'm not quite there. So for me, the visual with that is really like I'm enjoying being in the passenger seat. You know, like I really sense God's driving my life now, and how cool! I prefer being the passenger rather than driving anyway. And I get to enjoy the view, and I get to enjoy being taken, and I can be in the pleasure and relaxing, enjoying the journey, and not having to have any of that crazy stuff of thinking about driving.
Ah, I love that. And that whole piece of, well, dying, you die to yourself or to that aspect of you when you surrender. And it's the scary thing of, if I let go of control, what will happen? And it's really actually the most beautiful freedom that comes. Like, oh, please, you know, I surrender to what really wants to flow through me, instead of this uber control and thinking that, well, I'll speak for myself, that I've got it all figured out, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, love that. Well, you and I had a conversation about where we wanted to take this topic today. You are a wealth of knowledge about the body, so I could see where you'd be wanting to know, where do we want to go, you know, because you could talk about so many different things. And you know, and I tapped into guidance and asked, what is it that I'd really love for Helen to speak about that's really made a difference in my life? And one of the things that I did receive from NIA training when I was in my first NIA class was that I was a multidimensional being with more than one body, more than just a physical body. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to just kind of let you take that wherever you want to go with it, and see what happens.
Sure. Well, so it kind of links with what we were saying a little earlier, that first of all, to recognize, if I really want to be truly connected with myself really is, you know, it's physical. I'm here in a body. I have thoughts. I have feelings. And I have a spirit. And that notion of spirit is really saying, it's not really mystical or even woo-woo-y. When I define that spirit, it's simply meaning our personality, the person who chooses to live in this body, to be present on our planet today as spirit. And so each of us have these four components inside of our body. So we have our body, our mind, emotion, and our spirit. And I feel that to be truly connected with any of those four parts of us, the base of it all is sensation. And simply said, if I am in my body through its language, which is sensation, then therefore I am in my body. And then when I'm in my body, I have created the form and the vessel to house and home my mind, emotions, and spirit in the most balanced, harmonious way. It basically gives me form, and from that, I can really be in a place of freedom in all those four. if you want to take a little further too, I firmly believe that we have like this, everything that we know of our body, our mind, our emotion, and our spirit. But then also there is this concept that we also have things we might not know right now in this moment, but they are all within our realms. And then that is what can take us into more of what I would call an expanded consciousness. Before I sound like I've completely dissipated off the map, I'd like to give you like a real honest, example that I think a lot of people watching this will have gone through themselves. So, for example, I went to school at Shenfield High School. It's in Brentwood, Essex, in England, and I left that school when I was 16. And other than Sarah Pointer and Sally Thomas, my two friends who I've kept in touch with, I haven't really kept in touch with anybody else from school. However, I don't know, about a year ago, I got a Facebook friend request from Danny McCarthy. I have not thought of Danny McCarthy in, I don't know, over 30 years possibly. But when I got that Facebook friend request, it was amazing how all these memories of school started flooding in. I remember that Danny McCarthy was a friend of Timothy McIntosh, who, again, I haven't heard of or haven't thought of in 30 years. And it's an example that somehow, I don't understand the science behind it, but most, if not all of our experiences, all our memories, all our feelings are actually out there, sort of like the World Wide Web. And here I have a mind which is amazing, yet it still is limited. And when I relax into the concept, I have a mind, but I also have this vast realm. And when I choose to tap into that, I can effortlessly access much more than, well, let's call it the limits of my mind. Even though my mind is like really creative, it still takes a lot of effort for me to work things out and do things in these parts of my brain. But when I relax and rely on, hey, I've got people. I've got a physical realm, a mental realm, an emotional realm, and a spirit realm. And then all I need to do is, like I said, be in the passenger seat, recognizing if I sense my body, I'm connected and grounded. And then I can literally go out to these different realms. I can ask questions. I can be in dialogue with these areas that are not woo-woo-y. There's like so much that's beyond my realm, and I'll say that's definitely the way out there stuff that we still have. I have no ability to be able to know that stuff, but I got this stuff within my realm that's beyond myself. And I feel my realms are also where I really have a chance to hang out and meet with God right where I'm at and right where He wants to connect with me. So for me, my belief is that God is everywhere and God is within me and all around me and so beyond my comprehension. And then there's me, and my realms are these areas that I really feel I get to hang out and connect with God more. So how can I make that clearer? Do you have a different...
Oh, no, that's brilliant. That is so great. And it's a way that we can allow God to play through us, and we can use that as information too. Like emotionally, it's information. It's all energy. I see everything as energy, all of those realms. And if I'm feeling lower on the emotional realm, I can check in with that and get some information. Usually, I'm making a choice that isn't serving my highest good, and I can play with something else, or I can bring in new energies to support me. That was something that just totally fascinated me in that first few NIA classes too, that I actually had a choice in the realms that I played in, and the energy that I carried in my body, you know, like the whole Taekwondo piece was so foreign to me. And for anyone who's listening who's not familiar with Nia, we play with the dance arts, the martial arts, and the healing arts. And so in the martial arts, I remember my instructor telling me to play with Taekwondo energy, strength, you know. It's like, I don't know about that whole Taekwondo energy. But that was really cool to have access to all those other energies playing in the realms too, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all have our tendencies and our gifts, which is fabulous. But if we really want to be the most empowered and balanced in harmony, it is to look at more, you know, how can I be balanced? So the Taekwondo is how can I be precise? How can I be direct? Sometimes, even if my tendency, which is a wonderful gift, is to be more weavy and feminine. I mean, I came from the complete opposite. Coming into Nia, Taekwondo was like, oh, I get this. You know, it's control, it's straight, it's precise, it's, you know, I understand it. Whereas something that was more expressive from dance, like modern dance or jazz dance, is like, whoa, that's just way too feminine. It's exposing my expressiveness. You mean I'm supposed to move my hips? I don't feel comfortable with that. And it can really show us, you know, where our strengths are and where our weaknesses are, and then really bring up those weaknesses whilst enhancing our strengths, you know, and then it's like we really can be utilizing our potential and discovering our purpose in a new way. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for presencing the balance piece. That I think is really my target a lot of times, is finding that balance, and that if for me, not being familiar with that Taekwondo energy, or for you feeling kind of weird with the modern dance, it's information. Like, oh, okay, what could I play with that a little bit, or what would that feel like to bring that into my experience? And what just my personal experience has been that it's given me access to more of me. Like, instead of saying I'm only this way, you know, like, well, really, is that true? Like, am I only that way, or can I play in these other realms? And then play in more than one realm. For myself, I thought I was just my physical body. And then when I had this awareness that, oh no, I have like the emotional body and the mental body and the spiritual body, totally expanded my experience of myself and how I experience the world too.
Yeah, and I actually loved how you bringing up, I've never really thought about it this way, but how you brought up the you know, the martial arts, dance arts, healing arts as an example. That really is also a great example of what we know about ourselves in relationship with our realms again. In that, let's say I come in and I know how to move precisely. I know how to act as if I'm confident. I know how to ask for what I want. And yet, I don't know how to be a little more with feminine energy. Maybe I don't know how to be less in control, more in expanding and receiving. That doesn't mean it's beyond my ability or beyond my realm. You know, and this whole thing with Nia of exploring the movement forms in a way to find balance, or even if I'm not a Nia person, looking at, I have a certain way of how I do things, but this other way, is it beyond my realm, or is it simply beyond my knowing right now? And that's the big difference. It's not to go out and thinking, I have to do all these things that are like huge things beyond my realm. It really is a matter of simply take safe risks and be open to the concept of it really is within your realms. It's just a little beyond your present tendency. And no need to like jump straight into it. In fact, in natural time, taking your time, being in pleasure, all those things encourage us to continue and to develop rather than contracting away with fear. It's kind of a, you know, my example of this, and I promise it has a happy ending, is the example is if you take a frog and you jump boiling water, he's going to jump out like straight away. That's like if you take somebody who really has big goals of how they think they want to be in life, but if they go so far beyond where they are right now, they'll make a big leap, but it could be complete failure, and then they'll just jump back to where they were and think, well, obviously I can't do that, and feel like they have not succeeded. But if you take that sweet little frog and you put him in cold water and you slowly increase the heat, he never jumps out. But fortunately, you're there taking the temperature, and at the perfect time before he has any harm at all, you scoop him out and he lives happily ever after.
Thank you for doing that.
But the moral of the story is that if we really want to empower ourselves, if we really want to be the brilliant person God designed us to be on this planet, it simply is a matter of exploring every day, what are my safe risks? Never just staying in that rut of normality, but never really stretching myself or telling myself that I have to be some completely different person. I don't think it happens that way. I think it's simply every day seeking joy and pleasure and taking safe risks and asking God, okay, what am I meant to do today?
It's so true, and your life is a living testament of that. And the risk that you've taken yourself on the edge over and over and over again, and what you have created, you magical manifester, it really is inspiring. And I know we all have different levels of risk, and just like, what's a safe risk for me? Like safe risk for you might be different than a safe risk for me. It's so cool. Well, so will you share with me like how being connected to your multidimensional self, how that has supported your business success and supported you in life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like first of all, I could go with just showing an example of mind and then mental realm is, if I just went with my mind and I look at the practical thing of what is success for me, it's crazy at the moment. I have 3 mortgages and a house husband, and so bottom line would be success is all 3 mortgages are being paid, and other than that, I don't really have any other debt. I do my best to not be in credit card debt. I do my best to not have payments on anything other than the mortgages, which are very well being paid. So that's from my mind, and I think that in itself is successful, and I think anyone that wants to take steps to do their best to get out of debt, I think it's an extremely freeing thing to do, and I encourage anyone to look at that. But then I go beyond that, like linear mental, what would you call it, bank statement example of success, and more simple things like, for me, success is I wake up in the morning and I feel happy and I'm looking forward to my day. My most recent training I did, I asked each of the participants what they would really like to, I went through a few layers, why are you here on the training? And then why are you really here on the training? And then we went down with, what would you really like to receive? And one of the ladies on the course, she said it so clearly. She was like, I would love to be able to wake up some mornings and not fight the battle of depression that I feel every morning I get up.
Yeah.
And that for me was like, whoa, how does it feel for someone who's waking up with depression and having to, force themselves out of bed every morning? I haven't really been there in 20 years other than an occasional day. And so for me, success is to realize, you know what? If we're able to find a way of waking up and feeling good and bouncing out of bed with curiosity and wonderment of how cool I get to go up and do this thing called a job, which doesn't really feel like a job, and I get to enjoy myself and see right in front of my face how I'm making a difference in other people's lives. That, for me, is definitely, success. Another way I'd say it would be is that simple thing of, I don't think I think success is less about money, even though I totally recognize money is great. There can be a value exchange. It can allow me more freedom to do the things I want to do on this planet. I don't want to discount that. And at the same time, it's not all about that. Simply, whatever my situation is, if I can, love myself, love my body, love my life, then everything else falls into place. And then the offshoot of that, for me, is when I look at my significant relationships and to see those relationships flourishing and to see not only how I'm making a positive impact in my, really meaningful relationships, but I can also feel how they are making a wonderful impact on my life, and then the two together, how we are making a difference. I mean, you and I with our relationship, my only sadness is that I don't get to hang out with you as often as I would like to. We're both here on the planet, whenever I have a connection with you, I feel so much joy. If I feel that I'm helping you, I feel so, joyful that you, invited me to be part of this wonderful initiative you have. Mm-hmm. And then I feel so much joy just simply from you asking me to be part of this, and you asking me a couple of questions. You really helped me gain some clarity right now of, where I want to be going next and who am I. And then how you and I together, from having this conversation, hopefully inspire, even if we only inspire one person from this call, then our life force energy, both of us, will be so happy to know that we've helped one person. But maybe it actually has a knock-on effect of even more than that. And so for me, that is how I think God blesses us with relationships, so that we can really see how when we're doing, the work of God through us, how it's just a lovely way to live. Years ago, I heard this expression that relationships are God's gift to self-awareness. And so we've talked about embodiment and being in our body, how to be empowered. Well, the only way I can have all of that is by being aware. And how cool that I don't have to live in a vacuum and spend many hours every day, really toning myself and being conscious that it really is like this, face-to-face, person-to-person, moment-to-moment relationships really are our gift to self-awareness. And through self-awareness, I can be the best I can be, like a sacred athlete on the planet.
It's just so awesome, Helen. It is. And yeah. What came to me when you were talking, a couple of things. First of all, you are such a gift in my life, and thank you. How did we get so lucky to choose to serve in this way, that we have so much fun, that we get to engage and hang out with people that we love and adore, and do what we love, and share messages that are deep in our heart. So I just wanted to presence that. And also what came up for me when you were talking to the whole piece of relationship and the definition of success, when you get past the mental piece of a bank account and a certain parameters on what defines success, for me what's shifting and changing is in being in enjoyment and in curiosity and wonder of the process. Like that is just as much defining success for me, like how much joy can I experience, or how much can I learn, or how much can I grow from what's evolving right in front of me, instead of a goal that I have to achieve or a target that I have to achieve, which I think touches on, what you said of being face-to-face with people, really like spending time with them and getting to know them and experiencing them, that feels very yummy as a definition of success to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I would love, in that vast vault of knowledge that you have and all the realms that you have access to, If you would be willing to bring to everybody who's listening today an empowered embodiment tool that they can practice themselves, play with themselves to expand their life, to empower their life, to support them in following their dreams and shining their light. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I guess I'd like take you through the experience. So the first thing is to go into awareness. So in this moment, close your eyes and sense your body, meaning pay attention to whatever you first of all feel that's maybe in contact with the floor. So sense your feet, notice the temperature or the texture, and really connect with sensation. And then perhaps, if you're sitting, can you sense your bottom in contact with the floor? Can you sense your skin, your joints? Notice your breathing. These are all ways that we come into the body. And then the next step is to make a request of your realms, whatever it is you'd like. So we can start off with a simple one as an example. So that would be, in this moment, ask the question, of all my body parts, which needs the most healing in this moment? And then to say that out loud. Of all my body parts, which needs the most healing now? And then the cool thing is, with the divas or dudes, we get to hang out now. It's very much as if we're in that passenger seat. All we have to do is connect with our body in awareness by paying attention to body sensations, make the request, and then wait to receive the insight from within, meaning I don't have to think the answer. I don't have to put any effort into it. I simply wait, waiting to receive insight from within, which is also linking with waiting to receive God speak to me from within. And then sustain sensation, sustain insight, and open your eyes. And that simple three-step process, I recommend starting with being body-centered, of like just asking, what part of my body needs the most healing, or what part of my body has been healed the most so far in my life. Starting with that, and then your request can be, many things, like, of all the things I could do today, which is the number one priority? And of course, we can be answering all these questions with our brilliant minds, right? But the thing is when we drop into our body and we make the request and then we wait, even if we receive the same answer, it doesn't feel the same. And the reason for that is it comes from a different place. It comes from embodiment in our body, but I also think it comes more from God rather than us. When we allow us to be in this, what I'll call ready, set, wait, then go. Putting that little waiting component in that makes all the difference. And so the scenario too can be, maybe I do this process and I don't get an answer. And to be so okay with that, that in itself is simply insight. And it's not insight that we need to judge or criticize or interpret. It simply is, oh, I did that process today and I didn't receive insight. Good news is I still have a brain that can come up with the answer. And the good news is whenever I feel like playing again, I can always go through the process and ask again. And even if I get silence for a long time, it's so juicy and pleasurable then when I do begin to feel what it is to receive from within, rather than going straight for what we think is best from our mind. So it's simply step one, awareness. Pay attention to your body sensations. Once you're in your body, make any request, and maybe you want to write what it is you want to ask before you go into sensations, so the request doesn't require any mind energy. And then simply be playing in a place of waiting, continuing to sense your body, waiting for an answer for the request, and letting go of any end product. The good news is I might receive something I don't expect, and that's great. I might receive exactly what I would have expected, and that's awesome. Why? It feels different. And I might not receive anything. And the worst scenario of that is actually, but you know what? You sat for maybe 2 minutes and connected with your body and sensation. And your cells of your mind and your body will all be saying thank you for that, even if it doesn't take you anywhere else.
Yes. Yeah, it's a gift, just that waiting. That is,
Exactly.
yeah, that is an awesome, awesome practice. It felt good for me just to take that pause right there and check in. Checking in, right? Coming
Yeah.
home to yourself. And this, I've had quite a bit of NIA training, not near as much as you have, and I've still been practicing being in my body, and I can leave my body and just to come home there and to just be open. It creates a sensation of openness, like, wow, I wonder.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, thank you. I hope it helps some people.
I'm sure it will. And I know too that you have extended your generosity even beyond this talk, that you have been so kind to put together some free gifts that I'm going to let you share with everyone here if they want to soak in more of your magic and your inspiration. Come hang out with you more and dive into what you have to offer. So the link is going to be below the video, and I'm just going to turn it over to you and allow you to share your free gifts.
Well, thank you. And so for me, like, what would bring me the most happiness would be for, as I say in Texas, all y'all come to Soma Ranch. Soma, actually, the definition of Soma is of the body, and seeing the body as being the vessel for spirit. And so most things we offer at Soma Ranch are surrounded about that. It's a body-centered practice with NIA, but we also have yoga, meditation, and lots of other retreats. So my offer is like a double thing. So it could be simply come for the day, and we have a day retreat package, which is where you get to have a daily NIA class, and then a lunch, and then you can use the facilities at the ranch for the day. So that's the far infrared sauna, and we also have a really great therapeutic mineral hot tub that uses all the reflexology points on your feet and your back. And then finally, we now have an Olympic-sized lap pool, so you can just bathe in the sun and do laps. And also, you could enjoy the donkeys and the horses. We have rescued lots of donkeys and horses and feed them, and just be in the ranch for the day. So that's my gift. Anybody on this call can have a day at the ranch for free.
Wow.
And then I was thinking, well, that's a really nice gift, but that kind of isn't so nice for someone who's out of town, who would think, well, thanks, it takes a lot of time and energy to fly all the way to Houston. So I was like, well, how can I make the deal sweeter? So for those of you who feel it's a little too extravagant to fly in for the day, but I mean, maybe play with that being a safe risk next time. Another option is I'm actually going to give you $50 off any retreat I'm offering at the ranch for the rest of this year and for the following 2015. So anything that's going on, if you want to come for a weekend or for a week, I'll give you $50 off as a thank you for hanging out with me and the adorable Darlene.
Oh, that is so, so generous. So, so generous. And I have to say, that would be a gift to take advantage of. You have created something stunning and amazing with Soma Ranch, and I've got to get myself out there. I've been so I might just have to pop on that and take advantage of it too. It is really incredible what you and Joe and Liliana have done there, and so I encourage you, go down and check out that link and take Helen up on her beautiful and generous gift and go hang out with her and see what she's creating amazing things at Soma Ranch. So yeah, That's so awesome. Thank you.
Just gave me a little extra thought here that I only just had now. It just popped in from my realms. What if after this amazing conference, video conference that you're doing, what if a group of us women all got together at the ranch for a retreat that specifically looked at, after this conference, true being together and, empowered embodiment, and to have time to talk about it and maybe have some other sessions, but we could all get together.
Oh, that's brilliant. You are so brilliant. See what happens when you hang out in realms? The inspiration that comes, right? Oh, gosh. Thank you so, so much for everything that you've offered in this conversation. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being a beautiful example of someone who just keeps choosing to open up more and more to life and more to God flowing through her, and for having this conversation, for your free gifts that you've offered. I just appreciate you so much, and I feel honored that you're in my life. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for asking me on.
Yeah. And to all our listeners, thank you so much for being here today, for listening to this conversation, for choosing to take this time for you. Stay tuned. We'll have more interviews, more amazing empowered embodiment tools to come. So until then, bye for now. Say bye, Helen.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a beautiful day.